I've lived with food allergies for over 40 years. It started with an allergy to beef and pork. Eventually, it expanded into an allergy to wheat, apples, oregano, cashews, and dairy. But worst of all, I found out that corn is a toxin for me. Join me on this journey in learning to live well. We woke up this morning to a beautiful yet cool morning, so it made me crave a country-style breakfast. How do we do a country-style breakfast when we're allergic to wheat and corn? Well, join me in the kitchen and we'll get started. First, we have to make our baking powder because commercial baking powder contains cornstarch. So let's get that started. Baking powder is a ratio, so we're going to start with 1 part or 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 2 parts of cream of tartar, so that'll be 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar, and then 1 part of arrowroot starch. This keeps our baking powder from clumping together. And we're just going to mix that really well with a little whisk here and set that aside. Next, we need a touch of buttermilk, so we're going to go ahead and do a tablespoon of white vinegar in our 2-cup measure, and then we're going to measure to 1 1/4 cups of whole milk. You can use a full-fat vegan milk if you need to, and set that aside. Into our bowl, we're going to measure 2 full cups of gluten-free flour, a teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of our baking powder that we just made. Now, after we stir our flour and baking powder and salt together, we're going to incorporate between 1/3 and 1/2 cup of Crisco. I use Crisco because it contains no animal byproducts and it is safe for me to use. We're going to stir that in with a fork until it's all blended in. Then we're going to add our milk and vinegar mixture and stir until there are no dry pockets in the dough. Next, we're going to flip this out on a well-floured board and we're going to pat it out flat. Then we're going to add a little bit of extra gluten-free flour to this and we're going to fold it 4 times. This will give us a biscuit that will split just like your wheat biscuits. We pat this out to about 1/2 inch thick, cut with a round cutter, and place them on an iron skillet. Once that's done, we get them in the oven at 425 degrees for about 17 minutes or until golden brown. And then we're going to let them rest for about 5 minutes. Now, while our biscuits are in the oven, we're going to make some homemade sausage. Why are we making a homemade turkey sausage? Again, I can't find any in the store that don't contain a cornstarch. So we're going to start with our spices. Our spices we're going to add to 1 pound of ground turkey, all mixed in. I'm going to add just a touch of oil to my pan, and then we're going to start shaping patties and get those frying. Once we get those done, we're going to set those aside and we're going to make a country-style white gravy. So to our pan that we cooked our sausage in, we're going to add a little bit more shortening, about 1/4 cup, and we're going to deglaze our pan just a little bit. We're going to try to get all of our drippings stirred off the bottom of the pan. Then we're going to add 1/4 cup of our gluten-free flour, get that all stirred in, and we want to cook the taste of the flour out. So we're going to let this brown up a little bit. And if your roux is a little loose, you can add more flour like I'm doing. And to this, we're going to add 2 cups of milk. Now, once that's bubbly and the thickness you like, you can set that aside. Next, we're going to do a couple of scrambled eggs, omelet style. So I've put a little bit of oil in my pan. And you may ask, why is she using oil? Because I'm trying to show how we can cook without using quite so much dairy. Some people are sensitive to dairy, some are not, so we're going to use just a little bit of vegetable oil instead of some butter. So now we're going to scramble some eggs, season them how you like. I just used a little bit of salt and pepper today. Then we're going to add them to our pan with a little bit of oil. I'm doing omelet style so that we can make breakfast sandwiches with our biscuits. Now that they're done on that side, we're going to carefully turn them over. And once turned over, we're going to let them cook for just a minute and then portion them for our biscuit sandwiches. What a wonderful country-style breakfast we have. Gluten-free, corn-free, made from scratch. I know everything that went into it, and so I've had a safe breakfast. Let's eat! Stay tuned for more recipe ideas. And remember, if you're allergic to any ingredient that I've used, substitute what's safe for you. This is all about learning to live well.